Hello, hi everybody. I am back today with a new live, and I just wanted to let you guys know, thank you guys so much for joining me here today. I am going to be talking about going back, so I'm going to let a few people join, or I'm just going to wait a few more minutes, and then we can get started. Whoever comes in, people come in. But I just want to check in with you guys. I'm having a beautiful day today. It was so nice outside. I went and I brought my daughter to daycare. And now I'm just feeling amazing. I was like, I have to get these messages out because every single morning what I do is I wake up early in the morning and I just talk to God. And I try to get some messages for you guys so that we can all heal together. But I can say this morning, I actually did have something crazy happen, right? So the other day, I think it was yesterday, I did a live and I was talking about respect and authority, and pretty much I was speaking to people about the hierarchy of people, like kings and queens, judges and everything else, people who take politics and they try to make it seem like that position holds them higher than somebody else. So I did a whole video about that yesterday. It is on YouTube just in case you want to check back, and this video also would be on the replay on YouTube, but I just wanted to explain how. So this morning I was praying to God and I was asking God if there was any messages that he wanted me to get out to anybody, and right after that I started writing all the messages that I got, and I decided to sing a song just to praise for a moment. So I was singing a song, and then I got a phone call right after that. After I got that phone call, it was my parents. And my parents, they're Jehovah's Witness, and they were explaining to me how they had Bible study yesterday. And I was telling them how I did my live yesterday because we were just catching up. We didn't speak yesterday too much. So I was telling them how I did the live about respect and authority, and I was telling people, I was telling them that I was given the scriptures based off of what I found out about pretty much not taking people's positions and holding them any higher, because we're all equals. We're all of God. So we're all an equal. And little did we find out that they actually learned the exact same thing in Bible study yesterday when they were in Kingdom Hall. So I was like, wow, how ironic is that the messages that I got from God were the same messages that you're learning inside of the Kingdom Hall. It's very, very crazy to see that. But the only reason I don't subscribe to going to church is just because it's very difficult when you are trying to walk a life to be walking a life along people who are also not quite healed yet. A lot of the things that I've learned to deal with on my own. I've learned to deal with by going inside, going within, introspection, to figure out what's going on with me so that I can also further help other people. So I haven't really been to church just because I don't want to get myself too wrapped up in the situation. I know that my relationship with God is personal, so I don't need to have that extra step. I will go to church to go praise him in his name, but I am not going there just to look like I'm going to church. Like, it's not a look. I love God every day. I talk to God every morning, talk to God all throughout the day. It's not a gimmick to be just going out and making it look like something that is just for fun. Oh my goodness. What is wrong with me? Every single live, I just want to say this. On every single live, I kind of drool every single time. This is kind of crazy. But anyway, all right, back to what I was saying. This is the channel message that I got this morning when I was speaking to God and my ancestors and my spirit guides after that whole situation happened with my parents. Well, before that situation happened with my parents. So the first thing I got was a little excerpt. So I guess that we drafted this together, me and God. So the first one it's called Life Unzipped. Well, yeah, Life Unzipped. So it says, when you're zipping, can I not talk today? Oh goodness. All right. So when you're zippering your jacket, if it snags, you don't try to keep going. You stop. If you tried, it wouldn't work anyway, unless you go back and work out that snag so you can go forward. But that's how pain and trauma can hold us back from our higher selves. The choice is yours, though. We all have free will. Will you stay snagged and stagnant, or will you go back and fix the problem and continue on your path? See, these are the things that we need to evaluate when we're going through problems. some problems are not ours to take on, and some of them are. Some things that we need to grow from, and there's some people we need to grow from. So we need to get away from these people, or we need to get away from these things. But we only know these things as if we go through introspection and we actually take a time to deep dive into ourselves and figure out, hey, what is it about? What do I like to do? What is it that I like to have in my life to make sure that I'm having a good time? What makes me feel safe within myself? Who should I have in my life that makes me feel comfortable to be myself? So I did want to get out to the story for you guys today, just because I had that. Going backwards is very difficult because it's pain. It's re-traumatizing yourself, but it doesn't have to be that way. Sometimes we have to understand things don't happen to us, they happen for us. It's just in the moment, it's hard for us to figure out why it's happening because it's just happening to us. It's not something that we can actually change until after the situation. And that's why they say hindsight is 20/20, because a lot of things we don't know until after the fact. But what if you did know? What if your intuition told you it was not going to go that way? But because you've been so trained to not go with your intuition, you decided to go in another direction instead. That is the reason why we have to go backwards. Introspection is important. Keeping that inside yourself, going within yourself to figure out the problems that you're going through is what's going to make you move forward, push past it. Because everybody can see what problems you have going on in your life, but can you see what problems you're having going on in your life? Can they see what problems they have going on in their own lives? We can beat the narrative. See, I'm 27 years old. I am a single mother. I have a daughter. She's 4 years old. She has autism. I was born in Fall River, Massachusetts. And at the age of 2, I moved to Salem, Massachusetts with my family. I actually had a godfather. My godfather had passed away. He was murdered. And that was the reason why we actually moved to Salem, Massachusetts in the first place. So after moving to Salem, Massachusetts, I stayed there for a while. I ended up going to the Horace Mann Elementary School. I lived in the Point. I had so many friends there, although I did still get bullied by people. You know, that's life when you grow up. You're still learning how to be you. You're still learning how to make friends with people. But I really never felt like I could be secure in that area. But either way, I still decided to grow out of it. After I got to 3rd grade, I ended up moving to multiple different domestic violence shelters. I started moving in domestic violence shelters from the ages 8 to 9, from 11 to 12. When I moved to the domestic violence shelter, I moved straight out of Salem, and I had moved from Salem. We had moved to Lawrence, Massachusetts. I also lived in Haverhill, Massachusetts, Boston, Massachusetts, Brockton, Massachusetts, and Taunton, Massachusetts. And most of these places I lived in due to living in a shelter, due to me actually moving at other places with my family so that we can have a stable place, so that we can escape what was going on in the household that, I wasn't quite aware of because I was still a young child. So after that, I grew up and I started hanging out with many different types of people. I actually went through so many different phases. I went through phases where I hung out with people who did cheerleading. I went through a phase where I hung out with people who played basketball. I went through a phase where I hung out with people who were emo. I went through a phase of where I was just out in the streets. And then it got to a point where I turned into a teenager and I really wanted to have control over my life, myself, and the things that were going on. So I actually ended up hanging out with people who were not the best for me. I was hanging out with gang members. I was hanging out with people who just blatantly didn't care about me. So once I was in that age, I started feeling old enough so I can do my own thing. I even was giving my body away to people who didn't value me. And I was assaulted sexually in different ways that I didn't realize actually affected me as I went into my adult age. So I've been assaulted by friends. Well, not friends, but a friend, a stranger, and even one of my exes. Sexually, physically, the ways that you guys would think that I wouldn't have been sitting here happily talking to you about these experiences. You would never expect these things to have happened to me. But they did. And I don't let these things bring me down because I know I was not responsible for what happened to me. And I know that what happened to me only made me stronger. It only built me up past who I used to be. The person who I used to be, I used to really be too nice to people. I used to let people get over, but it wasn't because I was letting people get over. It's because that most of the time I felt bad for people. I felt sorry for people. I felt like, oh, I could clearly see that person's insecure. So me hurting them is going to hurt them more than it's going to hurt me. But then it got to the point that I was like, enough is enough. You're not going to continue to hurt me just because you feel that you can. You're not going to continue to hurt me just because people in your past hurt you. I'm going to continue being the loving person that I am, regardless of what I've been through. I'm going to continue speaking the word to other people just so that they can also understand that the power that they have is within them. It's not from anybody else. So when you have people who hurt you in your life, you have to take that power back from them. They need to know they do not have that authority over your life to make you even feel a certain way. They don't have that authority to make you go anywhere. They don't have any authority to pick a hobby for you, a job. What you do in your life is what you do with your life. So don't let anybody else tell you what is right and what is wrong. Just know that when you do things out of the best and the kindness out of your heart, that things will work out for you. But when you do things with malice, with bad intent, oh, it's 100% going to work out bad for you. Because if you have that in your heart, then that's the reason why it's playing out that way. You know, in the video I said yesterday, what you think about right now is going to be the projection for your movie. So for example, if you're right now, whatever you're doing right now, you're writing your script for your next scene of your movie. So whatever you're going to do is going to affect you. So make sure that everything you're doing is going to affect you positively and not negatively. For example, if you're going to be doing something and it's going to make you have a bad mood for the rest of the day, you might as well not do it. You might as well not do it. You might as well just leave it right there. Because if you try to indulge in those things just so that you can have that temporary happiness, that temporary feeling of success, then you're just going to continue feeling that later on in the day, because that's what you're viewing. That's what you're projecting onto your future. That's why they say it's easy to manifest things that you don't like, because, you know, you're thinking about it, you're harboring on it, you're lurking on it all day, you're thinking about it all day. So that's the reason why when you harbor these negative feelings and it manifests in your life. Do the same thing for these positive feelings that you have. Do the same thing for the good things that you want for your life. Can you think all day, I'm going to have $100 in my bank account all day. I'm going to have $100,000 in my bank account. Can you think that all day? Or all day are you going to think, oh, this guy didn't call me back. Oh, this job didn't call me back. No, you're going to go get it. You're going to go get the money. You're going to go get everything that you need because you know that you can. But if you sit there and you think, oh, I can't do this, you're not going to be able to. It's literally mind over matter. And I promise you, once you detach from the feeling of other people, then you can realize, oh, my feelings mean way more than anybody else's feelings. My life means way more than anybody else's life, because this is the life that I'm living. We can all be equal in the eyes of God, but you are not God to be having to worry about everybody's feelings. You can only worry about yours. You can only do what you can do. If you have that love in your heart to give to other people, yes, give it. But also you have to know the capacity that you have to where you need to stop, because sometimes people will take advantage of that. People do take advantage of good hearts. But as long as you know that in your heart you're being a good person, you're being the best version, you're being the best that you can be, then you don't have to worry, because the karma will be theirs to keep. It will not be yours. All right. So, with all of that being said, I was talking about the abuse that I went through. And I just want to say, everything that people thought that they took from me, they didn't. If they thought they took a man from me, they didn't. If they thought they took a position from me at a job, they didn't. If they thought they deprived me of love, they didn't. Because that life that I had previously was not the life of God. That's not the life that God wanted for me. That was a decoy. That was so that they could feel like they were taking from me what was mine, but it's not. The life that is for me cannot be taken from anybody, because I'm the one who holds the power. If I give control to you, that's the only way you can take it from me, and I will never do that. I know that God gave me this within myself, so I know that he gave it within you. So make sure that you keep on pushing hard and making sure that people are not keeping you in the past. They're not keeping you small. They're not making you feel like what you're doing is not amazing. It's not big, because what you're doing is big. What you're doing for other people is big. What you're doing for yourself is big. So always think big when it comes to you, because you have it within yourself to make these things happen for you. All right, what was the next thing that I have? And you want to know, okay, this was the next thing I wanted to talk to you about, because I said that if people think that they took that power from you, they didn't. And you want to know why? It's because God is giving people the opportunity to trick themselves out of a blessing. When you're a pure person, when you're a good person, when you do things for other people, it's never going to be your fault. It's never going to be your loss, because the loss is always going to be to the people who have done the bad to you, because they're tricking themselves. They don't know that you are a blessing. And it's not your job to let people know this. They have to go through their own karma. They have to learn their own lessons. And you have to learn things on your own sometimes. Only when you go through things, it's when you actually gain that experience and you're able to double, and you'll be able to do the best that you can do in the next spot. So another thing I want to say is that even through all of this, I chose love. And I chose it because if I should have chose hate. I should have succumbed to all the things that they wanted me to succumb to. But I'm not a victim of anybody else's reality. It's not possible for me. At the end of the day, like in, what is that movie? Mean Girls, they said the limit does not exist. Yes, for me, the limit does not exist. There is not a point that I say, well, I'm going to give up. Because when it comes to my future, when it comes to the things that I need, when it comes to the things that I want, it's life or death. But when it comes to people who I do not need in my life, when it comes to people who are not bringing happiness, who are not bringing bliss, who are not bringing me up, instead of bringing me down, then it doesn't measure up. It doesn't measure up. I gave my whole old life away so that I could rebuild a new one with God. Good things will not come to you without sacrifice. Because sometimes there's things in our lives that we need to sacrifice, or else it's going to bring it down before we get it. So we have to make sure that we keep on plowing through, make sure that we're continuing to strive with goodness and the love in our heart. Because one, like I said before, I've said it so many times on this page, love is the highest frequency. When you do things out of the kindness of your heart, when you do things out of love, shit shakes. Things shake. They get to move. And as soon as you start working out of love, things start to move in the direction you want. But when you move out of malice, when you move with impure intentions, it's going to go down. It might feel good for the second because you feel like you're in first place. But you know when they say you can either win the battle or you can win the war. And the war is not one. And when it comes to a battle of your heart, the war you need to win. Because people will try to win a war with you that you don't even know that you're in. So make sure that you're continuing to have that faith within yourself, that faith in God, because God is going to keep you up. God is going to be the one to hold you. When you feel like you don't have anybody, God is the one who's going to make sure that you got it. So make sure that you are keeping your faith, you are keeping your love high with other people, making sure that if you really need to seclude yourself, it's never a problem for you to go in and within yourself and just be by yourself for a moment so you can understand what's going on, so you can feel your feelings. It's never a problem. So I want to thank you guys so much for tuning in with me today. I do have my Cash App there, right there. In case you guys do want to send any donations, you are not obligated to. I am doing this out of the love and kindness of my heart, so I do not care if you guys choose to, if you're not. I just hope that I can see you guys here again another time so that we can speak more, so that we can grow together. And I hope you guys tune into my YouTube. Like, subscribe and like and share with all the people that you know, because this is actually important information for you. This is how we're all going to heal. This is how we're going to raise the vibrations on earth. And if we continue to pass the love around, then it's going to work. It's going to work. And I already know it. I can see it with my own eyes. I can see it with this eye and I can see it with these eyes. So thank you guys for tuning in with me today. And I hope you guys all have a beautiful, blessed day. If you guys are interested, I am holding consultations right now so that you guys can join into my classes. I'm actually doing one-on-one spiritual healing right now. And this is actually a transformative, this is actually a transformative thing that I'm doing right now. So the reason why I'm doing this is so that I can actually raise the vibrations of people, because I know that in order for you to meet your highest version of yourself, you have to heal first. And these days, a lot of things are expensive. Therapy is expensive. Going out to getting help from psychologists is expensive. Everything's expensive. And I don't want people to feel like they need to juggle between their mental health, their spiritual health, and their health of their body. Because in order for us to be complete, we have to be complete mind, body, and soul. So once we get everything together, mind, body, and soul will be complete. But Thank you again for guys joining me. I know I stumbled a few times, but it's okay. We're all doing this. We're all growing. We're all becoming who we're going to be. But thank you. This is Cast the Bestie, and I'm out. Bye.